Hi, welcome to another video. I've been really busy this week, so I didn't have time to film an episode for the 100 Baby Challenge. So I decided to do a create a sim video instead. One of my friends who watches the series gave me some suggestions of characters to add to it, and she suggested the Green Man. She was in a very kind of cozy, autumnal, pastoral mood. If you're not familiar with the Green Man, it's basically a very old motif that is used in architecture. You can find it in a lot of different places, and it's usually a face, a male face, surrounded by foliage with leaves and vines and stuff growing out of his mouth. There's a lot of history and lore about him, but he basically represents growth, rebirth, nature, and the kind of untamed spirit of the forest. He's also a symbol of fertility, which is great because the whole reason I'm making him is so that he can get my sim pregnant. I wanted him to have a very earthy, mossy look, and I wanted him to look human but not quite. So, I gave him pointy ears and everything, and I am gonna change his hair later on to a different color. But I do like this hair that comes from the Enchanted by Nature pack. I spend quite a lot of time on Sims faces, just kind of dragging their features around, playing around with proportions and everything. For his teeth, I was trying to find pictures of Green Man with their teeth showing, and a lot of times they're just kind of big, kind of stumpy teeth and kind of rough around the edges. So I just picked the closest that I could find. And then I wanted him to have leaves and stuff on his body and on his face. So I gave him some tattoos. I try a few different horns, but I gave him one of these horns and I just took it away because I decided to go and find new custom content and then come back. So I just go back to working on his face. I wanted to add these leaves to his face, but the Sims tattoo paint mode doesn't allow for mirroring, so I couldn't make them symmetrical on like both sides of his face. So I decided to add these kind of vein-like, root-like tattoos instead. And I kind of like them. It kind of makes him look like he's a plant, like a leafy veins on his face and everything. And I added these little tattoos that kind of just add to his beard a little bit. And then I struggled a bit with his eyes because when I was doing my research, I found that often he just has green eyes, but in some cases he's described as having kind of deep dark eyes. So I went with just these dark eyes and added these bright green light circles in the middle of his eyes. And then I added like lipstick to make his lips look a bit more green. And then added his nails. I wanted his skin to have kind of a glow, greeny glow about him, like leaves kind of glow when they're wet. Just fill out his body a little bit, I'm gonna make him a hunk. I love making hunks in The Sims. I feel like I've made a lot of male Sims recently. Usually there's quite a bit of a balance. Like I love making female Sims and I love making male Sims. I don't really have a preference. For a long time, when I first started playing Sims 4, I preferred making Sims that were women. But I think I have quite a lot of good male CC now, which makes it easier. But yeah, I love them both. And then I went onto his outfit. I got a few different CC outfits. I got these like leafy vines. I chose this outfit. It had the most leafy, kind of regal nature vibes, but there wasn't a color swatch that went with the hair, so I changed his hair to be more kind of a bluey green. And then I gave him these necklaces from the Paranormal Stuff pack because it has a leaf on it, and I think it looks really nice on him. And then I give him some earrings of these kind of gemstones. And then I gave him these big deer antlers that I found. I'm so happy that I found them. I think they kind of make him really, you know? Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. And I just give him all his outfits. For some of them, he just wears the same thing that he wears for his everyday. And I didn't just make him to put in my 100 baby save. I want to actually play with him because I want to build up his skills and kind of his personality before I put him in that save. So I'm going to play with him a little bit in my other save, my main save that I use for everything. I'm going to put him in there. I'm going to play with him a bit, and then I'll put him in the 100 baby save. I added some eyeshadow to his formal wear because I wanted him to be a little bit more like glam. So I think he would do that. So like it made sense for him. So now we're moving on to the second sim, who's going to be kind of a mischievous fawn-like fairy, inspired by a few different characters like Pan, the god of the wild, Tamlin, and Puck from Midsummer Night's Dream. I just wanted him to be, first of all, wanted him to be hot. I wanted him to be a fairy. This was also recommended by my friend. I really hope that she likes these sims. I'm like kind of scared that she's gonna be like, they're not hot. So I'm gonna be like, okay, what do you want from me? I'm pretty confident in my creator sim abilities, but sometimes it is difficult to know what the right thing to do is. Like, what's the right hairstyle? What's the right eye color? I tested out some beard. Don't worry, I am gonna get rid of the beard. I don't like it. I think it could work on him, but it just, I don't know. I wasn't vibing with it. I do think I suffer from same face syndrome when it comes to making Sims, because I think that's just a few features, especially like default eyes and default lips in the Sims, that I really like. And no matter what I kind of start out with, I do end up making all my Sims look a bit similar. I mean, you can read me in the comments if you think it's very similar, but yeah. I try out a few different horns, but we do end up changing his horns later on. I gave him this septum piercing and some earrings. I thought he looked really cute with them. Just add a few more skin details, but I do change this like kind of lip stain later on, because I think I was going for kind of the look of like wine stained lips, like he drinks wine and like, berries and kind of Bacchus vibes, but I get rid of it later on. And then for his eyes, I wanted it to be kind of golden, kind of honey. I mean, I really wanted him to have like really dark brown eyes. And I think later on I changed his eyes to be dark brown, and then they're kind of gold in his fairy form instead, because I love brown eyes, guys. Like, I love every time I make a sim and I give them like green eyes or blue eyes or whatever, and I'm like looking at them and I'm just like, I don't know, like something's off. something is off. And then I just put brown eyes on them and I'm like, I'm getting on my knees. Like, marry me. Like, for his outfits, obviously I gave him the goat legs and he's got that like fur. So I didn't really give him trousers for most of his outfits. I did give him tops for some. This is giving very much the guy from Narnia. What's his name? James McAvoy. Yeah, for his formal wear, I wanted him to have some kind of something, but I just don't have that much CC that was really working. So in the end, I just gave him like a shirt. And then, yeah, I jumped back and like edit his face quite a few times and his horns. I really like these horns. They have these gold rings and jewelry on them, which I think is really nice and fits his vibe. Yeah, I downloaded the goat legs. Like, I didn't have them before this, but I think I'm gonna use them quite regularly from now on. I think I might make a few more fawn-like creatures. Yeah, for his cold weather wear, I wanted him to be, a bit warmer than usual. So I wanted him to actually have like a jacket and stuff. So I give him this like fluffy, like sheep skin vibes jacket and some brown pants. In the end, I also decided to make him and the Green Man brothers. I just felt like it would add some drama the series if Light gets pregnant by both of them and their brothers, I really wanted to give him this beard, but it's the same beard that the Green Man has, so I was like, I don't know, like maybe I shouldn't. And I did like it on him, but I do also like him clean shaven. I gave him this goatee, but I do get rid of it. I think I struggle to decide on like facial hair. And then we move on to his wings. There's so many wing options from the fairy pack, but in my opinion, still not enough. I went with these wings because again, they have like these like gold, well, you can make them gold. They have these like metallic clips kind of on the wings, so I thought that really matched the other gold jewelry that he has. I ended up giving him this snake tattoo because I thought it was hot, and then I have these like Greek mythology tattoos. I gave him a minotaur one. So we are finished with the Sims. I'm gonna show them off to you. I called the Green Man Dion or Dion. I'm very, very happy with him. Here are his outfits. This is his everyday wear. I gave him this more casual one as well. Formal wear, athletic wear, sleep wear. I feel like he would just sleep naked though, but I'll put something on him. Party wear, swim wear, hot weather, cold weather. It's the same as his normal, except he has boots and these little gloves. And I gave him the loves the outdoors, romantic, and plant lover traits. I am very excited to put him in my game. I'm very excited to seduce him with Light so we can have his baby. Very, very exciting stuff. And then his brother, I called him Pan. This is his non-fairy form, but obviously he has the goat legs and the little tail. These are his outfits, his everyday, another everyday, formal wear, athletic wear, sleep wear, party, swimwear. He's just naked, hot weather and cold weather. And then this is his fairy form. It's all the same except he has the wings and he has these golden eyes instead of the brown ones. And for his traits, I gave him the animal enthusiast, outgoing, and goofball trait, but I think I'm actually going to take off the animal enthusiast and I'm going to give him the romantic trait as well. And actually, for the green man, I'm going to get rid of his plant lover trait because it's low-key kind of mid. And I'm going to give him the mystical trait instead because it's kind of a more magical version of the plant lover trait. So yeah, let me know what you think of them in the comments. Saf, if you're watching, I hope you are happy. I hope you're pleased. I've linked my Tumblr in the description with the post with all of the links to the custom content that I've used for these sims. So if you would like to download them, you can download them from my gallery, and then you can download all of the CC through the links in the blog post. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.